This episode is brought to you by William Hill's Final One Standing. Can you outlast the AFTV crew? Step up or step out.
AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date. Your players will be linked with a transfer move to Arsenal.
Hi and welcome along to AFTV Transfer Daily, the show that keeps you up to date with players that have been linked with a summer transfer move to Arsenal. And the summer is fast coming to an end as far as the UK is concerned, and so is the transfer window, and the season is nearly upon us. Arsenal got two more friendlies officially to play before the start of the season. They may possibly play one behind closed doors as well, but they got one coming up on Wednesday of this week. Then they have one coming up on Saturday. The one on Wednesday against Villarreal at the Emirates Stadium. Then again, Athletic Bilbao, should I say, or nowadays they like to be known as Athletic Club. That takes place on Saturday. Two good tests for Arsenal ahead of the new season. We'll get to see some of the new signings more over the next two games. And it's going to be particularly good to see Victor Jacquet running out onto the Emirates pitch. I bet he can't wait for that, and the fans can't wait for that as well. But, as I said, the season kicks off on the 17th of August. Arsenal's first game away to Manchester United. A difficult start. Manchester United last season, remember, away from home. We didn't win that game. As a matter of fact, we're very lucky to escape with a draw that day. And they've strengthened Brahim Diaz, Mateus Cunha. Could be bringing in Sesko before the start of the season. So it's going to be a tough start. Who else are Arsenal going to bring in before the end of the transfer window, which closes on the 1st of September? Let's get into it in a minute. Just before we do that, reminding you again, get involved in Final One Standing, a game we're all playing here on AFTV. I love this game. This is how it works. You lot are always in the comments saying that we don't know ball. Well, now it's your chance to prove it. Could you predict the Premier League if we offered you £500,000 to do it? We've partnered with William Hill to bring you Final One Standing. The rules are simple. Pick a Premier League team every week. Win, you stay in. Lose or draw, you're out. But you can only pick each team once. It's free to play, and there's £500,000 up for grabs. That's right, £500,000. Perfect. You need to have a William Hill app to play, so scan the QR code on the screen or hit the link in the description below to get involved. 18 plus, UK only. Please gamble responsibly. Terms and conditions apply, and full terms are in the link below. Let's see who's the final one standing. A chance to win £500,000, right? That's what's up for grabs. If you want to get involved, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. It is free to enter. Remember, terms and conditions apply. You have to be 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly. Who will Arsenal have in place before the start of that season? Everybody wants Eze. I've not met a fan that's not said, I don't want Eze, Robbie. Eze is the one. I think a lot of people think if we get Eze, it's been a fantastic transfer window. Now, when are Arsenal going to try and make a move? We know that the release clause now, that has gone and passed. That's 68 million, where if you put that down, Crystal Palace have to do business if the player wants to go, but that has passed. But the Financial Times are claiming this week that Arsenal are ready in their first formal offer of £52 million to try and get Eze. It's said to be a deal that represents £30 million up front plus £22 million to be paid in instalments over 2 years. £52 million. Remember, originally, Crystal Palace are looking for £68 million. A lot of rumours claims they take 60. Will £52 million be enough? Sounds like that deal will get rejected. Arsenal probably knows it's going to get rejected. It's their opening offer that's said to be put on the table sometime this week. It's going to be interesting to see this one now, how it plays out. As I said, with this one, Arsenal been playing a bit of a waiting game on this one. Crystal Palace know that the player himself would like this move, but ideally they'd like to hold on to him. But also, they don't want to be left with a player that's unhappy and also a player where his contract's running out. Remember, he's only got a year left. Then they're going to have to sell him for next to nothing yet next year. Going to be interesting, this one. This is going to be the big one between now and the end of the transfer window for Arsenal. So we're keeping our eyes definitely on the Eze situation. I spoke about Brahim Diaz on yesterday's show and how Arsenal are amongst a host of clubs that have got their eye on this situation with Brahim Diaz. Arsenal will link with him earlier on in the transfer window. But a bit of an update on this one today. Fabrizio Romano claiming that despite the fact that the contract hasn't been signed yet, which has been surprising because he reported about a month ago that Brahim Diaz was going to sign, he's saying that he still accepted all the conditions of the contract and will be signing it, even though he hasn't signed it yet. So still one to keep an eye on, but it does look like he will stay at Real Madrid. Brahim Diaz, quality player, still looks like Arsenal will probably go after Eze. Now, this one's come right out of the blue today. Lots of people have been reporting this. Fabrizio Romano amongst them, but, this didn't come from this. Has come from many different sources, claiming that Arsenal are very interested in signing Jeremy Jacquet from Stade Rennais over there in France. He's 20 years of age, a centre-back, valued around about £10 million, seen as a real top prospect in French football. Now, of course, Arsenal could be losing a couple of players in those defensive positions. We saw how they brought in Mosquera as a replacement for Tomiyasu when he left. Could Jeremy Jacquet be the player that's going to come in for either Zinchenko or Jakub Kiwior if they leave? Now, he's a centre-back by trade. Not known to be a player that can be, versatile to play, say, a left-back, for instance. You look on all of these, information, he's a centre-back, right-footed centre-back, which is kind of what we've got in Mosquera. But Arsenal are interested in him, and he could be bought in if there are sales to any of the following players. First one up, Jakub Kiwior. Now, he is one to definitely watch between now and the end of the transfer window. Mikel Arteta is still a big fan of Jakub Kiwior and would love to keep him, especially for the squad depth. Arsenal have already rejected a bid that's said to come from a Portuguese club in July, but many clubs are honing in on Jakub Kiwior, very interested in signing him. Of course, he had a good season last year when he came in for Gabriel. We've seen him over the last couple of seasons. Even though he hasn't been a starter, he's always covered very well when called upon, has figured in pre-season as well in the absence of Gabriel and also the absence of Calafiori. But if those two are fit, when does he get his chances to play? It's going to be interesting, this one, because there's also been a lot of talk that Arsenal identified the fact that they had so many injuries and so little cover sometimes in certain areas, and they feel that that is what cost them the title last year. So squad depth is important. But as I said, they're lining up this youngster from France. Could that, for instance, be for a Jakub Kiwior? One to definitely keep an eye on, because Jakub Kiwior would command a lot of money for Arsenal as well. They'd probably be able to get in like 25 to 30 million pounds for Kiwior. Definitely one to keep an eye on between now and the end of the transfer window, as is the situation with Alexander Zinchenko. News yesterday coming out that he's selling his restaurant that he bought. The restaurant's actually not in London, it's in Kiev, but he's got that restaurant up for sale. A lot of people are tying that into the fact that he could be leaving Arsenal. He's been heavily linked with a move to Fulham, but nothing's really moved on that so far. But Jakub Kiwior and Alexander Zinchenko could be players on the move before the end of the transfer window. And as I said, Jeremy Jacquet, a player that Arsenal are looking at as a possible replacement for both of them. Definitely a one to watch. And I feel that, as well as the possibility of Eze coming in before the end of the transfer window, there's going to be a lot of movement out. Reece Nelson's another one. I mean, there's several players. What's going to be happening with Albert Sambi Lokonga? He didn't play a minute of pre-season over there in Hong Kong and Singapore. I think the only player I can think of who didn't play any minutes but was over there training. So surely he's going to be moving. Fabio Vieira as well. Lots of outgoings as well this month, I feel, because the window closes at the end of it. So if you want to find out what's happening with all of these situations, you've got to keep it locked here on AFTV. We'll be running right until the end of the transfer window. We've been here every single day so far. Despite the fact that we've been away in different countries, you haven't missed a thing, right? So keep it locked here on AFTV, and we'll keep you up to date with all of the transfer rumours. Thanks for watching the show, and I'll see you tomorrow.